Hello, everyone. Welcome back to AmeriKhan Girl. We're actually, this season, we're going to be doing a little something more visual. And I want to reintroduce my beautiful and amazing co-hosts, August and Sarah. Let's start off first of all, we are in a whole different world than when we left off from season 1. We were worried about Game of Thrones, and now it's like
I'm still worried about Game of Thrones.
It feels like it's like, okay, did you guys ever read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Of course.
Okay, you know how they go into Narnia and it's like they live like a whole lifetime, and then when they come back, a second was gone. I feel like we're living a whole new lifetime, and then it's gonna wake up and we'll be like, oh, okay.
Like Interstellar.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. So obviously we're talking about the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic that has now engulfed the entire world. I woke up, I saw the news. I don't know if you guys saw this, but we have 200,000 cases in the United States alone, with 4,300 deaths. And it's just a really scary time. 4,300 deaths reported as of today. These numbers are jumping and they're getting bigger. And the scary part is the numbers just keep getting closer. I have a childhood friend whose grandfather passed away earlier this week, and he just had symptoms. He went to the hospital, and 8 hours later he was gone. And that's the scary thing about it, is there's people who are I saw they got symptoms, and then literally within days they're gone. And I that's just the part that honestly is it's the most frightening part, and once you get positive, they take you, that's it. You can't say, okay, close up this stuff, do this for me. It's no bye or anything. It's just we gotta take them, and then you just have to hope that they're come pick me up. But yeah,
I mean, that's what happened at Cedars. So I've been quarantined since March 13th, March 12th. That was my last day at my office job. And they basically sent us home because someone's cousin from Italy came to visit his cousin, who is our office manager. And this was the first week of March. She came and introduced him to everyone. He came into every single one of our offices, shook all of our hands. I talked to him for 10 minutes, and he tested positive. And so they had to close down our whole, it was literally she found out that he tested positive on the 12th, and on the 13th we had a meeting being you guys all need to go home right now. And so it was crazy. So the whole thing is that because of my autoimmune disease, I was I'm not trying to die today. So I called my team at USC, and they were well, USC doesn't have an ER, so we don't have any tests, but you need to go get tested. So I was okay, cool. So me and my friend Brandon, who was feeling really shitty, I wasn't feeling bad at all, but I was I just don't even want to take a chance, because I live with my boyfriend, right? So it's not I can just quarantine myself. We live in a 1-bedroom. And so we go to Cedars. They had these hazmat tents in the parking lot outside of the ER, where we went in and told them why we were there, and then we stood there and we went to go sit down in the ER chairs, and they're can you wait outside? And I was what? And they're yeah, here's a mask and gloves, please go wait outside. We walk outside, it was literally The Walking Dead. There are people also people really sick, and then people kind of sick, covered in mask and gloves, and then there's doctors wearing full gear trying to get everyone into these hazmat tents. The test feels horrible, just so you know. If you have to go, they literally stick this thing all the way up your nose. And I've had a flu test before, and this was next level. They stuck it all the way to the back of your nostril and then twisted it around. And I was yeah, I was that alone is enough to get me to stay inside.
It literally it looks like it touches your thoughts.
Yes.
No, ma'am.
It is all the way.
And if I hadn't seen that diagram that's floating around, I honestly thought it touched your brain.
Yeah. I honestly, it probably did. That's what it felt like. And because I've had a flu test before, which is kind of the same thing. They basically just like stick a Q-tip up your nose and twist it around. But this had like bristles on the end of it, and like it was like a brush, like to get everything. And so he's like, the doctor's like, okay, so this is like gonna hurt and like you'll tear up. And I was like, oh, I've had a flu test before. He's like, no, like you're going to cry. So I just want you to like know. And I was like, okay. He does it and my eyes just start pouring. Like it wasn't like I was crying like, oh my God, it hurt so bad. Literally like the reaction of like the pain in my nose made my eyes start like flowing down my face. It was
wow.
I don't have it. So there's that. But
you're very fortunate that you got to get tested.
Exactly.
Like,
I think I think it was the only reason why I got tested is because I have an immune problem. And so they were like, if she has it and we sent her home, like that's not good. So I think that's
not in downtown LA. I'm not going to talk about my medical history. That's great that you're talking about yours. We got denied too with pre-existing conditions.
Are you serious?
Just like you have to be running a 101 fever from this clinic that was saying 101 fever for 3 days before you can get tested.
Are you serious?
That is correct. So that situation that you're saying, like you got to go, the fact that they even gave you a mask and gloves, of course it's a shitty situation, but that itself is like the creme de la creme of service in the United States. That's not happening.
Cedars-Sinai, everybody.
Yeah,
I mean.
But that's like, I mean, like that's the scary part is like, it is wild to me that we don't have free testing for that. That it literally is, it's literally a global pandemic and America's still like, how can we make money off of this? Like literally, how can we make fucking money off of this?
I haven't gotten a bill for what it's worth. And I did get an email from my insurance being like, COVID-19 testing is free, but like, I went to the ER before they sent that email out. So I'm like waiting for like $1,000 bill. Like,
no. No. You better contest that shit. Oh my God.
For real.
No, cause like, and that's like the thing that's like scary is like the fact that like the US is still like, okay, we're still a capitalist country, guys. Let's figure this out. Like here in LA, there was a 17-year-old who was denied even any sort of testing because he didn't have health insurance and he went home and died. 17 years old because he didn't have health insurance. It's wild to me. Like this virus has exposed so much about our country and like the people who run it and the people who have money. I have never hated the rich as much as I do now. Like real talk. Like I'm just like, okay, so everyone's talking about how Mark Zuckerberg is paying $25 million to help with the research for COVID-19. $25 million is only 0.4% of his entire bank account, you know? And I'm just like, just 25 million, really? Like, it's literally a drop in the bucket.
Okay, you're gonna get mad at me for saying this, but it's $25 million. Like,
no, of course it is. Yeah, no, I'm not like saying, oh, that's nothing. But it's like, we need so much more. Like, we need ventilators, we need PPEs, we need masks, gloves, like, you know, and I don't know, these celebs are just like, here's 1 million, here's one. And I'm like, you're a billionaire.
I kind of agree with Ariana, actually. I don't think that the amount of millions is what's going to help us. It's like the amount of science and like unity that's going to help us.
True.
Because whatever the scientists have said, you still need bills to pass. You still need Donald Trump to like allow things to happen. So it could be all of Mark Zuckerberg's well. I'm not rooting for him. No, I'm not. But I do kind of agree that like,
I'm not, but
right. Like I'm not the only like billionaire that I'm kind of like, okay, he's actually helped eradicate diseases, is doing things, is Bill Gates. I will fight for Bill Gates. I think he's doing things. Actually a great philanthropist. Like that's amazing. But of course there's always one. But I get it. Like saying like only 25 million is this much of his wealth is such a like thing, like it's such a quick way to be like, nah. And like there's so many more other layers to that. No, I'm not pro Zuckerberg. Absolutely not. But I get what Ariana is saying.
Not pro Mark Zuckerberg on this podcast.
Yeah, no, because you have to say it out. Otherwise people are going to be like, what kind of podcast is this or show, whatever the hell this is now. But I get what you're saying though. Like it's super angering, but I don't think that that's gonna help us get a cure. Like we still don't have to go for the common cold.
But yeah,
you guys just get the notification.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was gonna like set a thing and be like, guys, let's handle this, but now let's restart now. Okay. So I feel like all the donations, like we need any donations. And the other thing, I saw this really funny thing as I see everything on Twitter. And this is what changed my mind about the whole like getting upset about certain people donating like minuscule amounts of percentages of their wealth. I don't want to say minuscule amounts because $25 million is a lot of money. But I saw this
minuscule adjective for that, correct?
But it's wild because it's still minuscule to them. You know?
Yes,
someone
tweeted and was like, "Oh, well, this is the equivalent of me donating $5." And someone was like, "Well, did you donate $5?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Well, that's not the point." She's like, "No, that is the point. Like
that is literally the point."
Yeah,
I agree with you.
So I'm not still a billionaire on this podcast.
Yeah. but you did bring up a good point that, you know, we all should be pitching what we can in, you know, whether it is 25 million or 5 cents, you know, it's like all of us should like be doing something actively about getting research done for this virus. I was going to say, there's like I sound like that little kid. I was gonna say that they're like Elon Musk, and I just feel like Elon Musk and like all these people that have money, like they were complaining about it, and then now they're like, okay, yeah, we're making ventilators now for you guys.
No, Elon Musk was one of the first. Again, I sound pro-billionaire, but he was one of the first. Why? And he wasn't like, we're not trying to cure. He was like, we're gonna do ventilators, and he did from the beginning. And I responded to
you. You did, and I was like, I'm not gonna respond to Sarah until I get the receipts on this.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I'm not gonna just make my become outraged over 160 characters sentence. Like you have to read up more on it before you get your opinion and start like riding in the streets. You know,
like sometimes riding in the streets is completely
today is actually yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, speaking of riots, so today is actually April 1st. It's a rent for many people. And I know that there's supposed to be a rent strike happening. And this is the thing is, again, America, you have countries like France, Canada, all these like European countries that are like, okay, guys, mortgage, rent, don't worry about it. This is something we can't handle right now. Just relax for a second. Nobody can work. And then America's like, what? What did you say? Like rent? They're like, no one's talking about it. No one's addressing it. It's like, so guys, do we have to pay rent? Guys, do we have to pay rent? And like that's what I'm scared of is like after the 5th, when people aren't able to pay rent and like pay for their livelihood, that's like when the riots will start. You know, like
in my apartment complex,
well-being we're talking about.
I mean, in my apartment complex, in the elevator, someone posted like a little sticker thing and was like, we're not paying rent on, this is like if we all band together kind of thing. And I read it and I was like, okay. And so I went home and I was like, cause I'm on salary. All I'm doing is working from home. So like my situation's like totally different from other people's situations. So like completely empathize with and recognize that I'm like not in their boat. But I came home and I was like, so Monty, are we like paying rent on Wednesday? And we like talked about it. And I was like, I mean, honestly, what are they going to do if you don't? Like, what are they going to do? Nothing. I mean, I thought it was really ballsy of my student loan provider to send an email out being like, it was like the day that they announced that student loan payments were going to be like not going. I got an email from my student loan like supervisor person being like, Ariana, your payment is due. I was like, some fucking balls. You guys have some balls. Like, because it was like, they announced that and then that email being like a payment reminder being like, oh, maybe some people wouldn't have seen the news yet and just paid it. I hate them. I hate them so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is so, exactly.
It was literally like that hour.
Maybe this person, Yeah. They're like, hold on.
I actively did not
so
pay.
let's talk
I just want you guys
about
to
our
know.
amazing president.
Good.
I was going to talk about, okay, so what do you guys think about our amazing president's job?
I can't.
Okay.
What kind of program is
I'm
this?
laughing.
This is how I feel
laughing
about it.
again because we have to laugh about this to survive. But
It makes me want to touch my face. That's what it makes me want to do.
like, it's just one of those things like, you knew about this in January.
He
You
knew about it
didn't
in
do
November.
anything, so thought it would. In November?
Yes.
Now I'm mad. Like, it's just so horrifying, like how he was like, it's a hoax. This is like, okay, real talk. Like, I went to North Carolina in the beginning of March for my sister's wedding, and
Congratulations.
my lip, huh?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was okay. So it was supposed to be okay. So in Islam we have a nikah, which is where you do like the vows, and my sister wanted it to be like, that was like the big thing, so she could have a smaller wedding. But like, no one from our family could come. I came early, that's why I was able to attend. But like my grandmother, my cousins, my aunts, so it was literally just her husband's side, and then our family, and then our one set of cousins that live in North Carolina. And what I was saying is like, my Lyft driver, she's like, her name was Rhonda, and she was like, I just don't know, like, I think it's just the flu, and like, I just feel like this is just what people want because they don't want to vote for Trump again. And I was like, I don't know if you need to know this, but this virus is like the great equalizer. Right now, at this moment, this is not a political thing.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the fucking Democrats who don't care about you. I just want to let you know, Rhonda, or the Republicans who don't actually care about you. Like, this is literally killing us all. And she was like, I just don't understand, like, universal health care. Like, how do the doctors get paid? And I'm like, this is what we're dealing with as a country. You know, like, this is why people are still on the beaches in Florida. This is why people are still on the beaches in California. And I'm just like, what? How?
I've been doing, so I feel like everyone who listens knows that I grew up in Florida for like a long time. And so my Facebook feed is like the Floridian news for my friends who live in LA. Like, they don't and it's funny because like in LA, it's like everyone's mad, everyone's on the same page, blah, blah, blah. But then I look on my Facebook feed and it's a whole nother, there's this kid who went to my high school and I'm just like, where did we go? We went to the same high school. We know each other. Where did the disconnect? He is posting, just like, if you want to post about coronavirus and how you're staying home, just delete me because I'm not letting martial law take over. I was like, listen, you, sir.
Wait, how did he spell Marshall though? Did he spell it like Marshall Mathers or no?
Yes, he
Tell
did.
me.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
yes, he did. I do know this is my
It's
feed where I was like, I've seen too many people talking about martial law today.
Yeah, everyone that's mad about martial law spells it like Marshall Mathers.
No, and I literally, that's why I was gonna tweet. I was like, if you spell martial law like Marshall Mathers, I'm not taking you seriously.
Or quarantine with an E, bitch. There's no E.
Like,
Everyone's mad about coronavirus. I'm mad about the spelling in this country.
What a privileged world we live in. Oh my God. I was gonna say also, like, President Trump was also tweeting about Meghan Markle, and I'm just like,
The nerve. Are we gonna unpack that now? Are we gonna unpack that?
Wait, has everyone said everything they need to say about coronavirus? Because
because, okay, wait, I just want, before we get into it, I wanted to say, I actually asked Ariana, I was like, listen, can you be like our Meghan Markle correspondent? Because it'll be perfect. And I would just want to say, like, Donald Trump literally ruined the news that our American princess was moving to LA. I was like, wait, she's moving to LA, guys. She's moving to LA.
So for everyone else, I have like loved Meghan Markle because when I was in law school, when I was taking the LSAT, when I was still in Florida and getting ready to apply for law schools, that's when Suits like came out. So I was like obsessed with her and the show and everything. Like, I love her so much. And like, also she was that bitch. I loved the show, and also I loved her. Like I followed the TIG. I was like all in it, like all of it. I was obsessed with it.
Like, wait, pause. I never watched the show, but I would watch, like, anytime it came on, I was like, I need to see her.
She was a star. You were like, yeah, you just know. She just has it.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Let's chat. So for those of you who don't dip your toes in the deep recesses of Twitter, I do. And there's a whole Megxit movement of old English white ladies who are just big mad about everything. And I have watched this since literally like the wedding. I won't even say the wedding. It was like, it all went downhill after she got pregnant. And then it was just like this pile on of just like everything.
Is that when it turned on her? Because I couldn't remember how it began to turn on
I remember. So like,
I feel like it was at the engagement. That's when it got really nasty, really racist, really, really.
Everyone thinks that, but it gets progressively worse on like social media that the regular news doesn't cover. Like it was like, okay, when she got engaged, everyone was like, and said rude things, got off their jokes, said all whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then on the lead up to the wedding, everyone was like, at least pretending like they were excited about her. Fine. I'm going to say pretending because it was the same motherfuckers who were out like cheering about how great she's going to be that are writing articles in the Sun talking shit. So anyway, so then I was like, after the wedding, things got like progressively more negative. And then the birthing mishap happens. And I put that in quotes because I think this is absolute bullshit. This is what happened. She goes into labor at like midnight. And she gave birth at literally like 4:30 in the morning or something like that. And the original plan was that they were supposed to tell the press after she gave birth, because they didn't want to do the whole like walk outside, like all the shit, but they were going to tell them immediately after. The hiccup happened is that she gave birth at 4:00 in the morning, something. The queen has to be the first one to get told. She doesn't wake up till 7:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. So they were sitting there like, okay, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And so they called, this is all like background. So like, whatever, you like, don't know all the details are right, but they called and called and called and no one was picking up at Buckingham Palace. So they waited until she woke up. And then it was like, everything happened at once. They told the queen and then they immediately told the press immediately after. But by then her baby had been born for like 5, 6, 7 hours at that point. So they got mad about that, saying that they got like tricked by her because whatever. And then after that,
who's they? The public?
The press. The press.
Are you okay?
Because
like the Piers Morgans. The Piers Morgans.
Yeah, it's like they wanted their little coin for the like exclusive photo, the blah blah blah. That's why they were mad. So after that, it was like a progressive, just every single thing she did. She could literally go out and be like, guys, I cured cancer. And they would be like, how much money did you spend of taxpayer dollars to get up here and tell us that? Like, it was like
divorce Meghan Markle.
Yeah, they'd be like,
use taxpayers'
black
money.
bitch Meghan Markle came out here and had the audacity to cure cancer before white people. That was literally, it was so bad. And it was like, so then this is where the whole like her basically running away and where Donald Trump comes into it. So things got really, really bad. And the rumor is, and I think Sarah knows about this, I've seen her like a few tweets about it, but like that Kate and her mom and the whole situation over there, they were like real big threatened by her because let's just state some facts. She's more interesting. She's more interesting. She's, educated and also like more, what's the word I'm looking for? She has more of like an international appeal because she's not from England. She's just not. So it's like she's more like America is more interested in her than we are in Kate Middleton because it's like, well, she grew up in LA. I live in LA. Like, of course I'm going to be more interested. Yeah. And the rumor is that they like it's not even a rumor actually. There's like an article written about this, about how like a lot of the negative stories about her came from the royal family, like straight up
Are you serious?
Yeah, like
And her own father.
And her own daddy, which I wasn't.
Siblings. Like it's awful.
It was awful. Like what did her sister say, Sarah?
I don't know. What didn't she say? She's given interviews to the news. Like she's been on camera and been like, she's always been like this. She's always been problematic. Like she is multiple times like sided with the father who's straight up reading books about like British monarchy. How can I like?
Yeah.
And I feel like the British tabloid love that. Like they love family members that are ready to be like, yeah, let me give you the tea. And it's like, you guys were never part of her life. Like, honestly.
Like I'm someone who has like a mixed family where it was like, you know, people had their own like families and then my family came together. So I have people in my family who are my first cousins who I never have ever spoken to in my entire life. So if something happened to me and they got on the news and they were like, oh yeah, this, that, and that, it's like, we are barely friends.
Like Ariana always kept us in the dark. She never wanted to be involved with us. We weren't invited to her wedding or not that I don't know if you're not married.
No,
but
like I guarantee you that that's exactly what happened. They were mad. This is what it seems like, is that they thought that they were going to have a big come up because of her. And when she was like, I don't know you, then it became like a whole turnaround. Because if you go back and look at the things that her sister said at first, when the engagement happened, they were like, we're so excited. We're da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then slowly as it became known that she wasn't going to invite them, and also same thing with Piers Morgan. If you go back and look at all the things he was saying in 2017, 2016, he was like, she's so great. Oh my God, how excited we are to have someone with a college degree and da-da-da-da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as he didn't get his invite in the mail, he was like, that bitch. Like, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Clockwork. Okay.
I hate Piers Morgan. I hate her sister, Samantha. Oh my God.
So the
fact that I know her sister's name, I'm like, I don't want you in my life like this.
Right? So this
like,
is
why are you part of the Meghan Markle narrative? Like,
it's so annoying. Like, I would like to be excluded from this narrative. So
exactly. Like,
so the way that
exclude yourself, please.
Yes. So the way that Trump, and like Sarah, you can like talk about it also, but like in Twitterverse, you see that it's like a lot of older white Republican people. I'll say conservative because they are
shocking.
Straight up. Like she literally, they are ready when she does anything. They're like I'm not joking. They are so in her life. And it's like, for someone who hates someone so much, you guys are like real about it. And this is what I've realized is like the more conservative these women are, the more happy they are to hate her. And I really tried to think about like what are the other reasons besides racism, because that's the other thing, is they would get really mad if you called them racist or anything. So I was like, okay, what are the other reasons for you to not like her? And I'm like, she has not given you a single reason to be mad. And in fact, as you guys have complained about things, she has fixed those things. For example, you guys were upset that she didn't tell you about her son being born on time, which, by the way, it's none of your fucking business, but let's start there.
Exactly.
So then she uploaded a really cute picture on Mother's Day of like his little feet or something, and it was like a really pretty picture, and they roasted her for it. And it was like, you guys were just mad that she didn't share enough with you, and now you're upset that she shared a picture of him. I don't understand. And then it was like, we're upset that you guys spent so much money on your house. And she's like, oh, okay, well, like, then we'll put my money into the house and you guys can just have it back. And they're like, well, they shouldn't even be living there anyway. And it's like, what? Where do you want her to live? The streets? Like, I don't understand. Like, she can't rent an apartment in Soho. Like, I don't understand. Like, and so like more and more she would do what they wanted. And this is the thing that I gave up on it, was this is the point where they were like, we hate her. She's too woke for this, blah, 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 blah. And so she was like, okay, cool. Like, if you guys don't want me to be part of this whole situation, we out. And then they're like, how dare she leave? Like,
yeah. How dare she disrespect the queen? The queen is like sent out 2 memos. She's like,
the queen was literally like, we don't give a fuck. Like, she literally ended the memo. That's basically what she said. Was like,
that was like the biggest thing. Like, okay, guys, real talk. Like, how does the queen feel about this? Because if she doesn't give a fuck, why are y'all getting twisted about this? Like,
And so
literally.
She has repeatedly said that she doesn't give a fuck.
Like repeatedly was
I
like,
think
I
that
love them. They can go wherever they want. I don't care. Like,
I
Yeah.
think the only thing, just like you were trying to like figure out what it is, if it's not racism, which it is.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Plot twist.
It
It is.
Right. The only other thing would be like it's disrupting the history, like of repetition and tradition and all of that. But that's the only explanation. And no, it's not a real explanation.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, like, her other grandchildren, the princesses who don't, no offense, like they do stuff, but like they have real jobs and like they're real people, and like one of them has her own like personal Instagram, like that's verified and
Yeah.
everything.
Call me when we hold Prince Charles accountable for literally anything. That's when you can call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. And so the reason why I think Trump tweeted about it is because a lot of white conservative people don't like her. And so for him to go out of absolutely nowhere on a day where the press was really bad for him to say this about her, it was very clear that he was like, let me start up another conversation. He does this. Like, he does this thing where it's like, oh, shit's really bad for him in this arena. So he tweets something completely ridiculous so that we all spend time, like I just did, talking about this.
Yeah. He's going to talk about guns next. Like, you should all have a gun in your house.
Yeah. It's like clockwork. And it's so annoying because I feel bad because this is her whole home. Like, this is where she is from. And for her to leave the UK because of how she was being treated there, and then to come home to her home where she is from, she is an American citizen, and for the president of the United States to put your name in his mouth about some dumb shit that you didn't even ask for. Like, she didn't ask for the US to pay for her. First of all, why would they?
Yeah.
Second, no one said anything about it. And then third,
like, literally no one, nobody, literally.
No one.
That's what it is. It's like
For
nobody. Donald Trump.
Yeah, for her to go anywhere though, the California bubble has got to be the best. We're going to welcome her back. We're going to literally like we are all celebrating that she's here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that like, people who don't live in LA don't realize like, no, like famous people can literally go to the grocery store and it's like, oh, there's so and so, and just keep it moving. And I don't think people who don't live here realize that I'm sure they moved back. Well, one, they moved back to LA for one major reason, which is that they are not Canadian citizens. So they cannot just like, oh, we're going to stay here forever. She's not working. The only reason why she was able to stay in Canada in the first place is because she shoots there. She works there or works. Yeah. But now it's like there's no reason for them to be staying there. So they can't live there. So there's two options. It's where he's from or where she's from. And that's here. So where else were they going to go?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't understand.
And like, let's be, and it's exactly what you said. Like, we literally, LA alone, just the city of LA would protect her ass, let alone California and America. So it's just like, I just remember when she first started dating. Okay, so after she gave birth, she was doing an interview and she was just like, when I first started dating Harry, all my British friends were like, trust me, it's not worth it. You don't want to deal with the tabloids. And I felt like, as an American, and I'm sure also her as an American, she's like, come on, it's not as bad as America. And then she said after, she's like, no, but, and then she got serious and she was like, but now I see, like, it's very serious here. And I was like, what did they do to you? Like, what did they do to you in England? Like, how bad is this tabloid? The biggest thing is when I try to understand British culture, I cannot comprehend how bad tabloid culture is. And that's a good segue because, like, I was going to talk about Caroline Flack, the host of Love Island. Yeah. And she actually committed suicide February 15th. I'm still, as they say in England, gutted about it because all of her pictures, like, she was happy. You would never see that. But all my friends who are British were like, no, the tabloids used to go in on her every day. She had just gotten in an altercation with her boyfriend in December or November. So instead of coming back for the winter edition, they gave it to the narrator's girlfriend, who's also friends with Caroline, and it was like a good baton pass. And then I was at work and like I got the text that she had died and I was in shock. I was like, this can't be happening. And again, everyone was just like, oh, it's a tabloid culture. And when I asked my British friends about it, they're like, you know, there was like this page 3 girl, I guess, which is like the topless girl in the magazines because you know, Europe is lax. Jordan, her name is Katie Price, but her nickname was Jordan.
You talked about her in another episode too.
Huh?
You talked about her in another episode too. I know.
Did I? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was like, her first son was born special needs. He's mixed race, and when he was like 6 or 8, the tabloids would talk about how he's going to rape his mom when he gets older. And I'm like, can you imagine? Can you imagine anyone in America talking about anyone's child who is also, what do you call, like, and I brought up mixed race because I do bring that up too, like, as another thing to be offensive about. And I'm just like, wow, you guys literally have like no bars at all, like, of levels of like control in the tabloids. Like, everything is like, all bets are off. Like,
I was
wow.
really trying to like analyze the difference between American tabloid culture and British tabloid culture. And I think there's like 2 key differences. One, in America, the general public are like, oh, it's tabloids, and just like move on. It's like, it could literally say and we just are like, okay, well, it's whatever. It's the National Enquirer, so like whatever. And we just move on about our life. But in England, like, they take, like, if it says so-and-so did something on the cover of the Sun, they're like, oh, it's true. And it's like, I think there's so many more tabloids there also that get taken a lot more seriously. And I think that also their like legitimate news sources go into that like gossipy column thing that like the Washington Post is not going to do an article about Meghan Markle and her not being on time about giving birth. Like they're just not.
Or her like wearing a dress again, like repeating a dress is like main headline of British tabloids.
Yeah. Like, and so it's like, they would never do that. So America doesn't really care. And the second thing is that and this goes into like legal stuff, but like our defamation laws are a lot more, what's what I'm looking for? Stringent than theirs are. So you can say some shit that's just absolutely not true and publish it. And in the UK, they're like, whereas here you can sue someone for lying about you in a publication.
Yeah.
Whereas like, it's a lot harder to do that in England. So because of that, they have this, culture of just like, well, we don't know if it's true, but someone said it was, so, and that's enough. Whereas here it's like, no, you need to have like 3 sources, and it has to be like 3 independent sources, like they don't know each other, and like that kind of stuff. And so here, like, it's just very different. And I felt so bad for her because like, I know what it's like. I feel like all women do to an extent, but like, I was really bullied when I was younger, and I know what it feels like to just be trying to do something nice, and it always gets turned into like what people want you to be like versus like what you're actually doing. And they would take everything she did and pull it into something negative. Like there was one article, which I think was like the Daily Mail, that said, oh, the flowers in Meghan Markle's bouquet, they put Princess Charlotte in danger. And it was like, because she used, I think, like lily of the valley in her bouquet, and that's poisonous if you eat it. And it's like, having lily of the valley in the bouquet is like part of their like tradition. So like, she had to have it, and so did Kate, and so did the Queen. But like, they conveniently left all that out. And it's like, how do you in good faith publish things like that, and then you just like feed that to people like, I feel bad saying people like, but people like Donald Trump who are like, oh, well, I need something to say today. So, and just, it made me really mad. I felt really bad for her because it's like, damn, she left.
But it's also like, when you said that, I just like realized also, like, of course, like being, I'm sure Sarah, like you can understand this too, like being Desi of like Indian, Pakistani, Bengali, Sri Lankan descent. We have like the concept, like if you guys watch Hassan Minaj, he talks about it. It's called Log Kya Kahenge, which means what people think. And I realized like that's where it comes from, is like the fact that like England, the great colonizer of the world, had this concept of like
the great
just
colonizer of us, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like now I get it. It's literally like what will people think? Like if you're on the cover and it's like you picked a flower that could have killed one of our princesses, you know? And it's
As
like,
if she's not also one of your princesses, because she is.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, she's number 2 princess right now. Like
I don't know who's counting,
like
but
she bumped up. It's like also Princess Charlotte. Like, where are you on the line? Okay.
Like it's
like, and that's what it is. Like, people are just mad that she literally, Meghan Markle and her baby Archie, literally bumped themselves up. You know, and like the fact that like, God forbid if anything happened to the Middleton Windsor kids, like you have little Prince Archie as the next king of England.
They just like don't. I think that they also are very used to not, I don't want to say a queen consort. She's never going to be queen. That was the other thing that irritated me, is like she's never going to be that important. Honestly, I know that sounds really bad, but like she was 0%. But like I think they're very much used to like like let's go cut a ribbon and like give an interview and then leave kind of thing. Whereas she's like, oh well, I have a project for this and an idea for that, and they were just like, well, we don't do that here. Like I think one of the first negative articles I saw about her was that she gets up at 5:30 and sends emails to people, and that annoys people. And I was like, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning, and like if there's an email that you sent to me last night, I'm like that doesn't mean you need to answer it. Like that's when I was answering emails.
I don't understand. Well, I mean, obviously, let's call it what it is. They're just racist and they want to find a reason. And she's like, everything that they should celebrate, they like rip it apart. The fact that she's American, the fact that she's Black, the fact that she's, educated. And it's like, I'm really actually surprised that Kate Middleton and her mom like set this shit up too. Like, why are you threatened, Kate? You're going to be queen. Like, why? Like, how petty are you, homie? But
yeah, I mean, I don't know why. No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I think that Kate is actually taking the right steps by just showing by her actions. She doesn't really say anything to the press, and she's, I think attacking Kate Middleton is doing the same thing. Like it's like the same concept of attacking Meghan for making something out of nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, no, I'm not gonna. Agree.
I think
like in my heart of hearts, I believe that Kate and Meghan are friends, and that they actually I don't think they're best friends, but I think they're definitely sister-in-laws that actually get along with each other. And I feel like the press tries to
make something that there's not. That's what I really think.
Right.
Yeah, because that's like a tale as old as time. It's sister-in-law fighting. It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's really stupid, and it's old, and I'm tired.
Kate has other problems with her cheating husband. Like,
I wasn't going to say it. I was not going to say it.
She has deeper.
Guys, forget the cheating husband. Let's talk about his uncle, who happens to be a pedophile.
Oh no! Oh my God!
Throw the whole family away. Throw the whole family away. All of them. Just go.
But Harry, and what do you call Meghan? You can stay. The Munchkins.
You can stay. You can absolutely stay in Los Angeles forever and ever.
Yeah. Real talk. As soon as the allegations against Prince Andrews came out, everybody had something to say about Meghan. I was like, guys, why are we not talking about this?
That was the other thing, is they were lining up, and I actually the article that talked about how all of their negative stories come from in the house, is that I don't think that they meant what we were talking about, Sarah. I don't think it's Kate being let me call up the Sun. I don't think it's that. It's that it's they have really large teams of people who work for them. And so it's people an intern who could just say, not even meaning it to be oh, I'm talking shit, being oh, yesterday I had an email from her at 5:30 in the morning. And I was like, why are you emailing me at 5:30 in the morning? We've all said things like that. But then because of how the tabloid culture is there, it's she sends emails at 5:30 in the morning, annoying interns. You see what I mean? And I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm totally not mad about it.
Yeah, in fact, I love that you're coming to LA, Megan, and I can't wait, actually. I just hope that there's a vaccine so we can run into each other before then.
Yeah, because it's inside sucks.
I just feel, okay, we're going to end this back on COVID-19, but more of a positive note. So this season, I want to, because this virus is honestly, it's ruining everything. I know a lot of people, myself included, we're just living with a lot of anxiety and paranoia. I've tried to do like that fast where you're like, oh, I'm not going to go on the news, but it's like habit. Literally, as soon as I wake up, it's like, all right, what's the death toll today? You know, how many is it? How is my family doing? Who's here? You know, I think that we should definitely, going forward, just for this season, we'll find like stories of people, positive stories of what's happening.
Oh, like John Krasinski did with the Some Good News show that he started on YouTube. That was so wholesome. That was so cute. And that was so necessary. It was like the light of my week. It was so nice. It was so great.
Yeah, and so I didn't even know about this. Now you have to send me a link. I wanted to check it out. I was telling Ariana, like, I think it's just so interesting to see how we're adapting to it, how it's, honestly, I'm curious, and the one thing I'm excited about is to see how this pandemic and how this lockdown is changing culture as we know it. Like the Jimmy Kimmel show, the Jimmy Fallon show, I've never seen their kids before. Now we're in their home, and it's literally them Skyping, like what we're doing right now. So I'm just like, okay, like, so yeah, it's like we can all have our own.
We're all putting our shows out on the internet now. Haha.
Yeah. And
I started going live with my husband. I was like, whatever. Everyone's mad about it. I don't care. Yeah. On camera. Watch it if you're bored.
Right? Exactly. And then the thing is, like, I just wish that people, first let's talk about how serious this lockdown is, and I wish people would take it seriously. There's still people going, like, they just, I think, shut down the canyons in LA this week, but it's just like, why? If you go outside, because they didn't stop us from taking a walk, but if you go outside to take a walk and you see like a whole bunch of people, why are you not taking like hey, let me step away 6 feet at least from them?
I went on a run yesterday, and all you have to do is cross the street. All I did was like, oh, there's a person on the sidewalk. They're walking. I'm running.
I agree.
Just cross the street.
And like before, when you would take a walk with anybody, it was just, okay, we just move aside or whatever, or pass each other. Now it's like a hello, so that it's like normal that I'm getting away from you. It's not that I think you're gross or that I'm racist or whatever. It's just kind of like an acknowledgement. I feel like now I've started waving at people on the street.
Like, I don't hate you. I just also don't want to die.
Yeah, it's like totally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, what have you guys done for going outside though? Have you guys changed up your?
I started running again, which I didn't. I started doing yoga a lot, and then all the yoga studios closed, and so I started running again. But like, have you guys done the online workout classes? Selma and I were texting about.
I have. I've been doing Barry, and like Barry's classes, like they kick my ass, and like majority of them are no equipment. And like I did one where it was like glutes and core, and like I can do glutes all day, every day, you know? But I had to stop. It was a 20-minute workout. After 14 minutes, I was like, excuse me. And it's convenient because it's like in my living room, so I can like step away and not feel guilty. But I was like, this is a lot, guys.
Amir and I just go outside more because we have a gym, but our gym is closed. So we've replaced the gym with going outside, but we're both work from home people. So we've actually always done the online classes. Like if it's like a rest day, it's like just stretching or like just different types of circuit training. And that's been great, but honestly, nothing different because I don't really go for walks with my neighbors. Like
who was doing that before? None of you were doing that.
Right.
But it really is our parents' generation, and that's the other thing is like seeing like the tables turn. Like my mom had to hide his keys so he wouldn't go outside, and then he was like, mind you, he got an email from like his mosque being like, okay, just in in adherence to the lockdown and the COVID-19, we're shutting the mosque down. My dad still insisted that he had to go check on the mosque, and I was like, Dad, are you the custodian? Are you the, because if you are, I want to talk to your manager and wonder why you're still working and why you have to check up on it. And like to the point where like my mom and my sister had to drive him by, and like my sister recorded it. She's like, Dad, are you happy? He's like, no, I want to go inside. And I'm like,
it's really sad. Okay, so Mir did that because Mir has he loves his mosque. It's like his literally his sanctuary. He loves it. And he was like, it's just such a big part of my heart and routine. And people that are routine, like whether it's the sunset, like prayer that you're doing, whatever it is, or if you go all 5 times a day, it's a disruption in your routine that it's like, I lost my work, I lost my gym, and now I lost this. So it's kind of like, they're just so lost. It's not like he rallied and decided to have a Jumu'ah prayer. You know what I mean? Like,
which people did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
not
just
to get like religious, but it's also like, oh wait, go ahead, sorry.
I just think it's a huge part of their heart. It's like an emotional thing. But if no harm was done, if he just went to go check up on it and came back, it's fine. Like,
but I just feel
could
like
have been worse, and it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I just feel like our parents are like turning the table on us because like it's like we have to stop our dad from sneaking out, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah,
and like I'm calling them every day. I'm like, you're staying at home, right? You're staying at home, right?
Yeah.
But my family lives in Florida, so they're not staying at home because I think they like just issued a stay-at-home order like right before we started recording. But for the last week, it's been like my mom's like, no, I have to go to work, and I'm like, I don't know.
You don't.
Yeah. Like what? And the other thing is that I saw this article about, I don't know how they did this, but basically they like tracked some people's phones that were, which is like kind of scary, but whatever, that were in Miami for spring break. And it was just one beach. It wasn't even South Beach, just one beach. And they saw like where the cell phones went after spring break. And it was literally all over the country. And like, I think like there were a bunch of people who just found out that they had it while they were at spring break. So thanks, Florida. If you would have just closed the beaches, even if it would have been like, oh, the beaches are closed, but like you can still hang out at the pool in your hotel, that would have helped it tremendously.
Yeah. I just feel like what's happening is like there's a demographic of Americans, doesn't matter who they are, what they do, that unfortunately it's part of our DNA as Americans to not be told what to do. And they just cannot handle the fact that like we're being told like, okay, stay inside, stay put. And it's just, here's the thing. So this is from the CDC. 80% of the world's population can recover from this virus. It is the 20% that we are trying to protect. And the scary thing about that 20%, it could be your grandmother, it could be your parent, it could be your sibling now, it could be your child.
It could be you.
Like, yeah,
it could
exactly.
be your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
like that's the thing. It's like it could be, like, and that's a scary thing. Is like you can be like, I'm healthy, I'm young, I work out, blah blah blah. I take care of my immune system. You don't know. Like your lungs will fill up. Like this virus is so discriminatory, like non-discriminatory. It's like not even funny how scary it is. And why would you want to take the chance that you are part of that 20%?
Like,
That's like my biggest
really
thing.
worth
It's
it.
like
it's still going to be there in 2 months. And
yeah. So, let's wrap up soon, but I just want to say, let's go around. How long do you think realistically, this lockdown is going to be?
June 1st.
I'll go first. I think it'll be till September at least.
Oh, shit.
why
Okay.
do you think that?
Because
I'm sorry, let me interrupt. Till this passes humanity or lockdown? Like,
Sorry, that was just like till it passes humanity or till
Because it has to, because it has to, that's how Bill Gates says it. It has to pass through humanity.
I think,
so
here's why I say September for two reasons. For it to pass through humanity, but also I know Johnson & Johnson and I think another company have both said they're working on a vaccine, but it won't be ready till September. Now, here's the problem. With the human body, regardless, like if they find the vaccine right now and they inject it in a human being, you still have to wait 14 months for any preliminary symptoms or side effects to show up. So I think it honestly should be longer than September, but because like Johnson & Johnson is promising September for the vaccine to come out, I feel like that's probably like the earliest we should be out, you know? That's my theory and my opinion.
So your question is, how long is the, hello.
Sorry,
Are you back?
Okay. I'm here.
So your question is, how long is quarantine going to be?
How long do you think it's going to last? Or how long do you think it'll last?
I think so here's another thing, is I do not like lumping myself with the rest of the United States, even though California is a state. But obviously we started way earlier than everyone else.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to last till June 1st. And I'm speaking for like where I live, how this applies to me in being quarantined.
What about you?
I think it might be mid-June, and the only reason why I'm saying a little bit longer is because there have been people, like I read this article about how it's really working, like the quarantining and everything's worked really, really well in California, but in New York, people aren't really following it as strictly as everyone in LA is, and so it has exploded in New York. Still, yes. And so
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like I saw these people who there was a medical like ship coming to the harbor to take care of people, and crowds of people went there to see the ship pull into the harbor. I was like,
like it was a spectacle. Carol, come look at this. Literally,
it was like, come look. So I was like, oh no. So this is the only reason why, is because like we haven't suspended travel. And so because of that, there are still people in the airport, whether it's one or two people, still like going around. And I think especially after like we as in California say that things are going to be a little more relaxed, people might start coming here again thinking it's fine, and then it's not going to be fine. That's the only reason why I think it might be a little bit longer than June 1st. But I do think June is like when things will start being like a little bit more normal. I think Florida is absolutely dicked, and they are going to be dicked until September. Like, absolutely. Because if you think about how quickly things happened in New York and LA, it was literally like we had our first few cases, I think like March 9th. And now look where we're at, and specifically in those two cities. And so now it's like, well, what about all the other places that were a little bit behind us because they don't have enough travel like we do, like Seattle and California and New York. And so I don't really know how long it's going to take for like everyone else to figure it out. Did Selma leave us again?
No, I did. I'm here. I'm sorry.
I mean, the headshot's great. The headshot's great.
I'm not mad.
It's my email when I send those casting directors. So here's the thing I'm scared about is the fact that like LA, because like LA's been heralded as like, okay, you guys did a really good job. Your numbers are really low. All this stuff. Like I feel like it's gonna make a lot of people overconfident, and then that's when the second wave will come. You know?
Yeah,
it's just scary.
I can totally see happening.
Yeah. Well, that being said, okay, so for next week, we're gonna find like one positive story, so that's how we're gonna end it. But thank you guys for joining me again, Ariana and Sarah.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, like honestly, this is probably going to be like my guiding light through this whole pandemic. I just can't believe it's just scary what a difference, like even 1 month, because like this feels like March felt like like somebody was like, just so you guys know, Shakira and J-Lo performed at the Super Bowl last month, and I was like, I really felt this was 15 years ago.
That was the last time I felt any happiness.
Like when we met for my birthday, that was literally my birthday is March 7th. That was literally 3 weeks ago. That feels like eternity.
Yeah, like it feels like literally.
She's now
like,
celebrating her 40th birthday.
Yeah, I'm now 45.
That's what it feels like. It feels like so much has happened. Like I feel like we're all like old and like, but I hope you guys stay safe. I hope you're wearing your masks and gloves outside. I know I have been. I look like a freak, but I'm like, I know people have passed me in LA because I wear like the full Sub-Zero mask. I wear the gloves when I go to the grocery store, and like I'm like, I don't care. Like you can make fun of me, but like I'd rather be overreacting because I don't have health insurance. And
Take that gloved hand and point at anybody that is not gloved and masked. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love you guys.
Okay, bye.
And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.